verse 77. Tato dagdva purim lankam rite sitam cha maithilim ramaya priyamakhyatum punarayan mahakapihi.
Tato dagdva purim lankam rite sitam cha maithilim ramaya priyamakhyatum punarayan mahakapihi.
The tale has been lit. The big fire has been lit on this tale. And what did Hanumanji do? He decided to grow bigger and bigger and bigger. As he grew bigger, the tail became longer and longer. And therefore, there was such a big area to cover to burn his tail. Well, all the demons got together and kept wrapping this huge, long piece of cloth and then tons of oil, and finally they managed to light this fire. And then what? Well, as he was moving, the asuras, the rakshasas were dragging him to the city. He thought, good, I'm getting a guided tour of the city. Let me see what have I to cover here. In the meanwhile, the Rakshasis go to Ashokavanam, joyous that this has happened. And they declare to Sita Devi, you know what? Your friend, his tail is on fire right now. He is going to get burnt. Look what he did. This was wrong, and this is the punishment he deserves. Sita Devi, shocked to hear this news, she goes into prayer. She worships Agni Deva and tells Agni Deva, Yadasti pati shushrusha, yadasti charitam tapaha, yadi va tu eka patnitvam shito bhava hanumataha. Beautiful prayers from her. She tells Agni Deva, if it is true that I have remained all my life ever in the service of Sri Rama, Pati Shushrusha, my husband, Yadasti Charitam Tapaha, if in my character there is truly tapas, penance. Imagine why she says this, means this is all the reasons for punyam, punyam. Means I have gathered so much good punyam by being pure and committed and dedicated. So if in my character truly is tapas and ekapatnitvam, if this is true, really if Sri Rama has taken me as the only partner in his life, and if it is true, she keeps going talking about all this. If in our journey we have done dharma for all these years together, then hey Agni Deva, remain cool for Hanumanji. Let him not be hurt in your heat. And so this prarthana she does. And as she tells this prarthana, Agni Deva listens to her. Every prarthana is heard. And he hears and begins to burn very, very mild burning, because it is about going against his nature. He burns mildly, and Vayu Deva blows the wind so that even that doesn't touch. Cool air blows around Hanumanji and he doesn't even feel the heat of the fire. In fact, Hanumanji wondered, Hey, how come so much fire is on my tail? I don't feel this burning at all. What is happening here? He wonders, and he realizes that it is a grace of Sita Devi and Sri Rama. And the purity of life with which they have lived, it is their grace, their power that is protecting him. And with this understanding, he reaches the gate of the city, and then what? Suddenly, you remember, he has this great skill of becoming big or becoming small. Suddenly, he drops his body to becoming small. Why? You remember those ropes that were bound? He was bound in those ropes. From this big body which had those ropes, if he becomes small, what will happen? All the ropes drop off him. No more ropes. He can just step out of the rope and walk away free. And that's exactly what he does. Becoming small, he sheds all his bonds and assuming again a big form of a huge mountain, and begins his destruction. Jumping from house to house, the house of Prahasta, Mahaparshva, Vajra, Damshtra, Shuka, Sharana, Indrajit, Jambomali, Sumali, all these houses he jumps and burns, every one of them. Lakhs and lakhs of houses were burned, and the Rakshasas ran here and there and say, God of fire has come here in the form of this Vanara. It was God of fire, and there is nothing they can do. That hill, Trikuta hill on which Lanka, the great Lanka Puri stood, completely is on fire. He saw to it. He did not touch Vibhishana's house. He saw to it that he let Vibhishana's house alone. In fact, in Himalayas, when our little children there sing bhajans, there is a song, where they sing this, that how Hanumanji burnt Lanka. But do you know why he left Vibhishana's house scot-free? They ask in the bhajan. And the answer is because it was only in Vibhishana's house Sri Rama was written all over the walls. Rama Rama was written everywhere, and so Hanumanji left his house alone. This is a bhajan my children sing there. Maybe if we find that clip, we will put it in you can listen to that. Very beautiful bhajan talking about Hanumanji's strength. Oh well, Valmiki doesn't say he wrote Rama on the wall, but the idea is his devotion to Sri Rama. And so Lanka was reduced to ashes, and once this was done, time to go back, suddenly Hanumanji became thoughtful. Lankam pradahata karma kim swit kritam idam maya. Ayyo, why did I do such a crime? What was this anger in me that made me do this? Digastu mam sudur buddhi. Really, I have no head. How could I even do something like that in my anger? Nirlajjam papa krittamam achintayitva tam sitam. That Sita Devi was in Ashokavanam. Tam sitam agnidam swami ghatakam. What an action. It is violation of all trust and faith with which Sri Rama sent me. I have burned Sita Devi away. What a idiot I am. So sudur buddhi. What a fool I am. And it is simply, he is so much aggrieved with this action. And it is said, at that time, when he gets ready to give up his life, I can't live anymore. He hears the celestials congratulating him, telling him, Aho khalo kritam karma, durvigaham hanumata, Janaki na dagdha vismaya adbhuta. Janaki Devi, our Sita Devi, is not burned. You have done an amazing, an impossible act you have done. Congratulations. It is an act of great wonder, something we have been waiting for. Hanumanji hears this. He's happy. He's very happy. And he goes to Sita Devi to meet her again. And he says, luckily, I found you. You are alive. And I've come to take your blessings. And so here Sita Devi tells him, please, just having you with me, you have worked so hard, rest for one day, stay with me. You will release me of my dukkham, sorrow, one more day, be with me. And you are the only one who can assure relief from sorrow for anybody. And so he says, yes, I would if I could, but I cannot, so I won't. I need to get back to Sri Rama and give him the news at the earliest. And so Hanumanji assures her that Sri Rama and Lakshmana will be back with crores and crores of Vanaras. Samashvasihi bhadram te bhava. Don't be afraid. Thus consoling Sita Devi, he gets ready to take his leap. His next leap, how is he going to leap? He climbs this Arishta mountain, grew in his size, and then what? Got his posture ready like before and makes this gigantic leap into the air. And it is said, well, as he made this leap, really that very mountain got crushed. It got crushed under his feet and becoming 80 miles long and 30 miles wide, he returned from south back towards the north. Leaping across the coast of Lanka, he crosses Mainaka mountain. Remember that Mainaka mountain in the ocean? He always respected by touching it. He had no time to waste. So he touched it in friendship and then continued his journey, reaches Mahendra mountain on the other side and makes a big roar. Well, he made a huge roar. That roar was enough for his army, Jambavan, Angada, all of them. They knew there was a success story here, and as soon they rushed to meet Hanumanji, and Hanumanji very quickly, briefly told them all what happened. It was time to head back. Angada says, let us go back and really get Sita, destroy these demons. Jambavan discourages. We don't act in a rush. We have to have the king tell us what to do. And so let us rush back. As they are going back, there is this very interesting small story about this beautiful forest called Madhuvana. This forest is a forest of Sugriva's ancestral property. Okay, Valmiki says it is his ancestral property. Ancestral property is very dear to everyone, right? You protect that. So Sugriva had sent his most powerful and capable Vanara, whose name is Dadimukha, to protect this Madhuvana, which was filled with honey and fruits and herbs and flowers and all the most tasty, wonderful things. These Vanaras are crossing Madhuvana. And Angada, because it's his property, he tells the Vanaras, let's rest here and have your food and let's move on. They are in a celebration mode. They are not just going to have a sandwich, a pizza, lunch or something and just walk in 10 minutes. They stay on and drinking, eating, making merry, destroying and having fun and nobody stops them. Dadi Mukha's people come, Vanaras come and say, hey, you can't do this, you can't destroy this forest, stop. Anything they do, these Vanaras go and beat them up. Fights happen between the Vanara groups and Angada's Vanaras, Hanumanji's Vanaras are beating up Dadimukha's Vanaras. It is called infight, And finally the complaint goes to Dadimukha. Dadimukha himself arrives on the scene. Who dare do this to Madhuvana? Angada sees him and beats him up until he drops flat on the ground. Nobody, Hanumanji is there. He literally escapes with his life, goes straight to King Sugriva. He's got to go and complain that his own child is doing this prince is doing this. He's not fit to be the next king. And so Dadimukha goes and meets Sugriva. And he, bleeding and all, he explains what is going on and how Angada supported, how Hanumanji didn't say anything. Jambavan was there, nobody said anything. And Sugriva is happy. The response Sugriva gives is he is happy. He says, definitely they have found Sita Devi. Otherwise they will not be celebrating like this. And therefore this is good news, Dadimukha. Dadimukha says, what king, my king, what is he saying? Look, I am bleeding. Oh, good. You do one thing. You go back and say you are sorry, and they will make up with you and tell them to come back here immediately without losing a moment. Dadimukha has no words. He goes back, meets Angada and gives the message from the king. Your uncle wants you back there immediately. And Angada apologizes for the hurt, and the whole army goes and meets the king and Sri Rama, who are waiting there.